Hi everyone, I'm Summer, and welcome to my channel. Let's embark on a magical journey of character design together. Today's video is mainly about my understanding and application of materials. P.S. The content is only for character and concept design. These are my personal habits and may not suit everyone. I'm sharing them with you as a way to think about using materials. Let's explore more methods together. I see character design as a jigsaw puzzle. Materials are the pieces of this complete puzzle. To create a vivid and likable character design, it's important to find materials that fit together harmoniously. How do we sift through a vast amount of materials to find the right one? First, we need to know where the treasure trove of image materials is. These materials are like the raw materials of a game world, and different sources can bring us different inspirations. For example, professional material websites are like carefully crafted treasure troves filled with all kinds of high-quality gems, while social media platforms are like bustling markets where we can discover some unique and interesting things. Next, let's take a look at the different types of these materials. Realistic materials include character portraits can help us shape the appearance of characters. Fashion design gives us inspiration for creating costumes and equipment for characters. Animals, including insects, can inspire our imagination of character movements and personalities. And architectural design can also provide inspiration for special characters. Only by understanding these can we better select the materials we need. Processed materials include game concept art, illustrations, film and television characters, special effects, makeup and styling design. Different types of materials will have some differences in use. For realistic materials, we need to extract elements, deform and reorganize them. Processed materials cannot be copied and used directly, but we can get some creative inspiration from the works. Analyzing and studying the design ideas in the works can also be very inspiring for our own works. Everyone has different preferences for processed materials and will choose different styles. I won't go into detail here. I mainly want to share how I select and apply materials. Before starting to design a character, I will list keywords for the design theme. I don't always write them down. Sometimes I have a direction and design style in my mind. In work, I design according to the overall style of the project. For practice, I will filter and choose the styles I like and save pictures as references. In terms of material selection, I will classify the materials. Different types of materials will be used at different stages. Usually, I divide materials into basic reference materials, silhouette reference materials. Structural reference materials include division and details. Color reference materials, texture reference materials. Basic reference materials include human dynamics, muscle anatomy, animal photos, biological skeletons, muscle anatomy structures, etc. These materials will help me build the basic shape in the initial sketch stage. I will refer to the proportion and muscle structure to draw the initial sketch, especially for non-human characters. Like creature design, reference images are very important because we can't know the appearance and structure of every animal in nature. After having the basic shape, it's like having the initial skeleton. Next, we need to add more silhouette variations to the design. In my previous job designing characters for online games, these types of characters need more rhythmic changes in their silhouettes. The outer contour silhouette should have more ups and downs. Only in this way can the character have stronger recognizability on web or mobile screens. So at this stage, I will look for more exaggerated silhouette designs in fashion design, graphic design, animals and plants in nature, and even in unique architecture and sculptures. After the silhouette is determined, I will cut the silhouette into internal shapes based on it. At this time, I will use materials related to clothing structure and silhouette structure. Taking clothing as an example, wearing clothes on the human body follows certain rules. And clothing is also constrained by the human body structure. The simplest example is that the collar of a garment should cover the neck. So no matter how the collar shape changes, covering the neck is the unified rule for collar design. In this part, I will divide the silhouette according to these common sense rules. Of course, in some parts that do not affect the overall structure. I will also design the layering of clothing based on different reference images at this step. After the main framework is divided, it is also necessary to deal with the details of the clothing structure. At this time, close-up material images are needed, such as the direction of fabric folds, the position and form of clothing seams, the structure of buttons, and the style of belt buckles. With the previous parts, the basic shape of the character has been built. At this stage, it is necessary to enter the next environment, color matching. A long time ago, I didn't understand color at all and never thought about color matching. I just painted with the colors I liked, using watercolor blocks to paint realistic styles. Sometimes the colors were nice, but sometimes the picture would be very messy and dirty, and I didn't know why. Later, through learning about color composition, I found that color needs to be carefully designed. At the beginning, when I had no clear understanding of color, I would see what colors others chose and use my favorite images as references. I would apply the color palette to my own work. I have to admit that this method is very efficient and can ensure a safe and acceptable work. However, if you want to find your own style and make your work more recognizable, you still need to master the laws of color and design your own colors. At this time, you can find inspiration from nature. Nature is a magical and huge material library. You can find many unexpected color combinations in it. Find them, apply them, and your work will be refreshed. The work still needs to be rendered and refined in the end. I will find corresponding material reference images for different materials, such as the texture of metal, leather, patent leather, and crystal surfaces. The intensity of highlights and reflections of different materials, special effect materials such as water, fire, smoke, clouds, and light effects, their color changes, and the changes between reality and illusion. All of these need to be observed and analyzed through materials to find the patterns. For me, if I don't understand something, I can't paint it clearly, and the effect will be very strange. This is my logic and way of selecting and using materials. There is one more point I forgot to mention, which is the reference materials for light and shadow. For display character design, light and shadow usually won't have too much exaggerated design. Only flat light or oblique light is used to better display the design of costumes and equipment. For illustrations, atmosphere maps, or special effect character illustrations, different light and shadow effects will be used to render the atmosphere. At this time, I will also look for strong light and shadow effect photography as references according to the desired atmosphere of the picture. The above is my logic for filtering materials. Next, I will use cases to demonstrate the specific way I use the materials. Before we use elements to add clothing and equipment to the characters, you need to understand first. Let's go and increase the logic of clothing and equipment. For character design, it is different from the usual daily clothes. We had to exaggerate the outer contours of the form. This is in line with our character design, especially the requirements of game character design. Because in game design, most of the time, the characters are in the complete state of small pictures. Present in front of the player, the characters will be displayed on a relatively small screen. At this moment, how to use character modeling. It is even more important to identify the occupation of this character. Under normal circumstances, some more obvious ones are usually used, the shape of geometric forms with a sense of graphics, to distinguish the occupations of different roles. That is like among the common game character occupations. Warriors with physical attacks. It is an image that uses the form of close combat attack. There are also intelligent mages, like this. Some images of long-range attacks. There are also images such as agile thieves and thieves. That's like the melee type of physical attack. He will place more emphasis on the power of this character, so the shaped shoulders are usually used. One way to exaggerate the upper body, intelligent character, we will make it beautiful and elegant. Usually choose a triangular shape. The agile type will choose the rhombus as the dominant geometric form of this different profession. In this way, the character's profession can be distinguished through this silhouette of the design. As in our reference picture, it can be seen that the upper row and the lower row of graphics are not quite the same. The row above is obviously relatively stable. The design form of the intelligent character's appearance in the design. From the head, sleeves, to the entire lower part of the skirt hem area. The graphic sense of the shape is still mainly composed of triangles. So this shape is more designed by using triangular graphics. The soldier below can be seen from the silhouette. His form is exaggerated. The body shape and volume are quite distinct, and the shoulder design will be wider. The size of the shoulder armor will also stand out in the entire design. The area will also be larger. We can design character costumes and equipment by using different graphics and exaggerating different parts. At the same time, Distinguish different occupational attributes. This is what we need to know before adding equipment and costumes to the characters. Because, when designing different professional looks, it is necessary to make the audience understand the attributes of this character. Next, let's take a look at a silhouette change of the outer outline of this character that can be seen from the blue lines I marked. The outer contour is not exactly a straight line. It will have some small ups and downs. Such undulating relationships will give the entire shape a stronger rhythmic variation. These small undulations also change the density relationship of the outer contour. There are some inspirations when doing the internal cutting. Next, I'll use the reference materials to draw the designs of some characters. The human body on my side was drawn in advance. When drawing human figures, I will also look for some reference pictures to sort out the muscle structure of the human body. Then, during the process of designing clothing, you can look for some pictures that are in line with the theme and that you like. I usually choose photos. This picture, what interests me more is this kind of strip-shaped belt and their connection form. This way of combination will look rather interesting. I want to use them as references for the basic segmentation. This is also the simplest way to use material references. It is to extract the structures from some interesting photos in reality. Use it in your character design. I am using this method now. This is also the simplest form in the process of using elements. The character's clothes can be made in a similar style to those in the reference picture. However, in terms of the rhythm of the outer contour of the shape, we need to do it more exaggeratedly, because there are still some differences between character design and real-life clothing. We need to make the tension of this shape stronger. So when drawing the clothing again, the undulation of the outer contour should be greater. Especially, reinforcement should be done in the joint parts. The undulations should be even more exaggerated. One variation in the shape can involve changes in the thickness, size, and length of the graphics. On the human body, the local area can be appropriately tightened or appropriately widened to ensure the rhythmic changes of the outer contour of the shape. The upper body is a key point in the design of this picture. Go down and the leg part can be properly relaxed. But if the legs are tightened directly, the ups and downs of the up and down rhythm will be weakened. So I'm on the part of the shoes. Added an outward scaling trend. I added the boot opening of the expanded shape boots. This is also for the sake of the ankle, with a tendency for the shape to expand outward. This is also a commonly used way for character design. Add a little small element appropriately in the character's hand. Adding a whip or a chain element is both fine, because there are a lot of linear elements in the shape. When designing weapons, it is also necessary to consider what the existing graphic elements in the design are and apply them. I copied a shape like this. Try to make a new plan. I changed the shape of the shoes. Added some crossed line shapes. Linear and crossed graphics will increase the density of the local graphics in order to enhance this linear element. The same elements have also been added to the sleeves and even the legs. To strengthen this relationship, I added net-like black threads to one of my legs. After adding such a shape, we can change the position of the weapons appropriately. I switched the weapon to another. The length of the skirt can also be adjusted slightly, because a whip is added to the right hand. A visual effect of downward extension is created on the graphic. The skirt on the left would appear relatively short, and the visual effect would not be very balanced. So it is necessary to appropriately adjust the relationship of the styling. When we are doing the design of the shape, there will be a feeling that pulling one hair will affect the whole body. If one place is changed, there will be changes in the overall balance of the design. So during the process of drawing, it is necessary to constantly make adjustments. Make another plan. I think this contrast of black and white in this picture is very interesting. The use of threads is also very attractive. A combination of thick and thin lines is more interesting. At the same time, I will feel the direction and trend of this line champion element. It would be a little bit like a ribcage structure, like the ribcage and bone pattern, but also like the way your fingers hold things. but it seems that dry fingers and claws feel more, so I thought this was kind of interesting. So even though I'm on this picture now, it's all these thick strips. When refining later, you can take these line-like elements and turn them into bones, vines, dead branches, or other concrete elements. You can use your imagination to make your characters better. If you choose bone elements, this character, he makes people feel dark and dead. Choosing plants may bring about nature and vitality. Draw down to add a skirt, mainly due to the high graphic density in the upper half. If the lower half is completely bare-legged design, the relationship between the top and bottom of the shape will be unbalanced. So I'm in the lower half of the character. Added an element of this skirt support. The skirt support is also a line-like element. It can also respond to the line-like elements of the upper body. When refining later, we can all put this strip element. Replace with bones and bone elements. An evil image of that kind of death system is created, part of the arm. You can also add this decorative arm ring like a hand and paw. Relax your legs properly without adding too many elements, because if the density is too high, some designs that may grab the top half make the shape lose its priority. The shape can still make it a little more beautiful, but the graphic elements on the body, the linear shapes, are harder. There will be more thick lines. Then we can appropriately increase the elements of the curve and adjust it. The head increases the curvilinear shape of the waves. To balance, the feeling that the character is handsome and soft will become stronger. This character is clearly a triangle-dominated form design. Graphical styling for remote attacks, like a mage. Weapons can be designed as staff, with the same specific elements as the choice of costume. Don't forget to add bone or paw elements to the legs as well. Design a few more male characters. And it's the same for male character design. Men go into design. For this shape, I will choose the show photo on the left as a reference. Many men's clothing in reality has a strong sense of shape. It can be used as a reference. Some creative fashion designers with a strong sense of styling. Their work, many times they are very thoughtful and have a strong sense of hierarchy. Find the right elements and learn to use them in your designs. Note that design elements need to be combined and reasonably designed. It's not that it's okay to copy a design. We still need to design according to the theme and the sexiness of the characters, because many designs are still exaggerated. And this is a typical example. I want to highlight this character. The left half is softer, relatively loose sleeve part, so when painting, not exactly the shape of the clothing surface on the reference picture. I made the right side of the character tighter. I want to make a comparison of left and right shapes. In this way, the graphics on the left and right sides will also have a comparative relationship. It will also affect the next shape. The large block area on the left is large, and the current situation on the right is that there are many small block graphics. There will be a difference in the tightness. Balance with the top when designing the lower body shape. The lower body can enhance this asymmetrical design. Make a diagonal form to balance the shirt body, because the upper body is the part that wants to focus on performance. The lower body can be made a little tighter to weaken its graphic sense. This is also a more commonly used technique, mainly for comparison in shape. A contrast between width and narrowness. A contrast between density and density. Part of the shoe. And it's the same train of thought that the woman just showed you. It is also because the legs are relatively tight-fitting design. The foot part needs to have some elements of shape expansion to increase the rhythm variation. The hairstyle can also be designed a little bit. Hairstyles are also a part of styling. I wanted to reinforce the character's taller, cooler feel. There is a more personalized feeling, so I made the character's hair taller. The bun is more exaggerated, and it also adds line elements. You can add some linear decorations to the waist. Strengthen the relationship between points, lines, and surfaces. When designing, a relationship between points, lines, and surfaces should always be considered. This makes the design look more comfortable. The part of the sole can increase its height to give the whole character a sense of depth. You add another weapon to this character. Carry a knife or a sword behind your back. I wanted to make it more interesting. I added some cute elements for contrast. In the hands of this character, add a small pet. I drew a little snail. It also gives this shape a gentle side. In this way, through the addition of elements, there will be a stronger contrast in the sexiness of the characters. The overall rhythm trend of this shape is that there is a clear fluctuation. Zoom out to see the clothes will be more obvious. Draw another plan. Also find some favorite reference pictures. Pay attention when looking for the reference picture. Select multiple reference images. The choice of reference diagram needs to be similar in style. The shape and design logic should not deviate too much. Otherwise, it will be difficult to unify in your own design. There are many times when gender-neutral women's clothing is designed. It can be used in the costume design of male characters, because we refer to the rhythm and hierarchy of clothing. Elements that can give you inspiration can be used. So don't pay too much attention to gender issues in the material. I chose the H-shaped vest in the first reference picture. The scale is fine-tuned according to one's role. I think this look will be more interesting, so I put it on the character first, but this is somewhat average. In order to adjust the density relationship, I added one more element of this crossed belt, and I immediately thought of this element, which was probably in the first few forms. I can think of it as a layer within a garment. You can add a loose, rhythmic coat outside, so there's a stronger undulation in the outer contour. At the same time, it can also increase the level of clothing. Create more layers of stacking. Briefly draw the belt. Add less small elements. The strips are the main design elements of this drawing. In the later design, it is also a design to increase the properties of the line. A figure with crossed lines on the top half. These intersections form triangular sections. So the design of the lower body also needs to add unified graphic elements. I also added this small incision for the trouser leg. The overall pattern density of the legs is relatively small. I'm on the ankle part. Added some wrinkled elements in order to increase the density of the figure of the ankle part, to make a dense comparison with the legs. The shoes are slightly exaggerated. This is also to balance the shape, because the top half of the graph expands outward more regions. The legs as a whole are too thin to support the whole, so balancing the whole picture with the graphic expansion of the foot. The hem of the clothes has added another layer. It also makes the graph look more stable. Cross-shaped linear elements on the chest. You can add some on the lower half of the clothes and above the sleeves. It's a kind of cross-shaped strip. It is an element of design. There is a design rule. The same element should appear at least 3 times in a design to put this element to good use. So I was in the process of designing. This element is added separately from top to bottom. In this way, the clothing can be made more integrated from the design elements. When designing clothing decoration patterns later, you should also add patterns with the same design logic. Design that hair a little bit. I'm not exaggerating in any way, because I don't want the hairstyle to affect the shape too much. This character has a bit of a Chinese street feel to it. Also add a weapon to the character. This design can be used in modern times. You can add a pair of glasses to make him look cooler, rendering refinement through a combination of different materials. This look may feel different. The matching and selection of materials have the opportunity to make a video alone. Draw another set of plans. Also, it is better to draw the elements you find interesting on the character first. Cut out the part you like first. The sleeves may not fit. You can draw them for the time being. After painting, we will adjust it later, because the body shape of our current character is completely different from the reference picture. After some graphics and some shapes are painted on the character, it will look discordant. Because the form is the whole, the dynamics of the body are part of the form. In this way, we need to adjust the design according to the existing screen content. I kept the shorts style of the pants, but for the rhythm of the silhouette, I shortened the length of the pants. Part of the shoe. Some variations can be added. thought about adding elements of pulleys, then this character may need to add more mechanical elements. I wanted the character to have that playful, vivacious feel to it, so temporarily gave up the design of mechanical elements. The elements in a reference image are extracted. If the sense of shape is not enough, graphics are not a feeling you want. You can go to more reference pictures. Add new elements to adjust your image. I've added another exaggerated sleeve here. Wider, larger. A design with a stronger sense of rhythm. The trouser legs also have a tendency to expand outward. There will be more variations in the overall outer contour. In the first reference picture, I have reserved this bag for the decoration on the chest. This design can also increase the density of local area modeling. More contrast in intimate relationships. You can add some accessories, wear a pair of glasses and a hat. This will make it look more street. When we refine the collar part later, you need to draw the collar substructure clearly. How the structure is interspersed and how it is connected must be clearly drawn. The sketch we just do is a basic shape, a concept. In the process of specific refinement, you need to combine more details with reference to the diagram to draw the structure clearly. I wanted to add a rainbow to the color scheme. It can also make this design have a fresher and more fashionable feeling. Add a bubble gum to make the character more vivid. The character can hold some candy in their hand, or something cute. Do another female design. When looking for a reference picture, try to make the material clothing have more layers. Try to have as many layers of superposition in reality as possible. This kind of reference map provides more help for our design. The design idea is the same as the previous design. Let's take a quick look at the derivation process of this character. My final choice was the first male character, the one with the snail in his hand. I think its rhythm is still stronger. It's been a long time since I drew a male character. Then choose the design sketches. I'll outline the outside of this design. To check the outer silhouette again, you can draw the outer outline with lines first. The relationship between the ups and downs on the left side of the shape is still okay. There are still some flaws in the undulation and density of the shape on the right. There will be some discomfort. The silhouette of the shape still needs to be adjusted. The biggest problem is still with the weapons. Weapons now appear thinner, because on the body mass, especially the addition of heavy elements like down jackets, the volume will appear more obvious. The weapon will appear thinner, so we can start from the silhouette to make an adjustment to the shape, then to strengthen the undulating relationship of the outer contour of the entire shape. Fill the silhouette and optimize it at the same time. The relationship between the existing outer contours of the silhouette. After adjustment, zoom out to see the overall state. This will be much more comfortable than the thin sword and thin knife effect at the beginning. Select the design drawing well. When detailing it, you should also look for reference drawings in a targeted manner for observation. I won't elaborate too much on this part. Videos related to line drawing can be found on my channel's homepage. That's all for today's sharing. I hope everyone can feel the joy of painting during the process. I will bring you more wonderful content. Stay tuned.